Our next guest kids book series has sold 250 million copies worldwide, and now that story has been made into a new animated movie, which is out now exclusively on Disney Plus. Welcome, author of The Diary of a Wimpy Kid books, and now writer and producer of the new film, Jeff Kinney. How are you, Jeff?
Great. It's great to talk to you.
It's so nice to chat with you. So sadly for me, Diary of a Wimpy Kid came out way after I was a little kid, but I've heard so much about it, and I'm so glad that I finally get to experience it through the film. Can you tell me and our listeners a little bit about how the idea was born and what really influenced you to make this series?
Sure. Diary of a Wimpy Kid was born of my failure to become a newspaper cartoonist. That was my big dream, to become like Charles Schulz, who did Peanuts, or Bill Watterson, who did Calvin and Hobbes. I also love Gary Larson, who did The Far Side. That was my big dream. And out of college, I tried. I tried for about 3 years to become a syndicated cartoonist. Nobody liked my stuff. And I decided that I was going to have to pivot. So I came up with this idea of Greg Heffley and Diary of a Wimpy Kid in this journal format. And I worked on it for a long time. I worked on it for 8 years before I showed it to anyone. And finally, I put it online. I started to get an audience, and then I found a publisher. So it took a long time to get it going.
And how old were you when it finally when I guess it got published?
Yeah, let's see, I was 28 when I started, and it got published. I'd have to do the math here. I think about 14 or 15 years ago. I'm 50 now. So when I was about 35 or 36 years old.
I love that because this has been the theme of my life is failure at one thing, turning it into a success in another way. And I feel like so many people can really identify with that. So, I mean, you've certainly succeeded in an exceptional way.
Well, thank
Um,
you.
what is your biggest hope in what kids take away from Diary of a Wimpy Kid? Both the film, the book, what's the
Yeah,
lesson?
my biggest hope is that they take away joy. I'm writing entertainment. I'm not trying to moralize to kids. I'm hoping that they can cozy up on a cold night, get under a blanket with their siblings or parents, and just kick up their feet and enjoy this as a piece of entertainment.
I love that. So, I was one of those kids that always wanted to be older. I was never happy being a little kid. I thought everything would get better when I got older. And seeing as you're kind of this wise sage for kids, what advice do you have for other kids that feel that way?
Yeah, I'd advise kids to take after Rowley, who likes being a kid, who enjoys being a kid. Being a kid is a great thing. It's a lot of fun. We're lucky if we get to grow up in a household that feels safe and joyful. And I think that I'd be less like Greg and more like Rowley.
What I loved about that character is my son is 4 and he's just starting to know what it is to wanna be cool with his friends, which is kind of crazy, and I feel like Rowley is that perfect example of just be yourself and be cool. You're cool just being you, man. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I love it that Rowley has, if you look at his bedroom, it's full of artifacts of a very youthful childhood, and he loves this pop star named Joshi, who's clearly aimed at 6-year-old girls, as
Yeah.
Greg says. And I think there's a lot of joy to Rowley. He's got his parents' picture on his wall, which is kind of strange for a middle school kid, but all of these things kind of tell us about the character.
Yeah, and it really did do a beautiful job just and in that scene especially where you see Rowley's room and you see all these different little facets of what make him just himself and not really caring about everything else. It was really nice to see. So, tell us about the film. Can we expect more of these on Disney Plus? I know there's a whole series of books.
I certainly hope so. What I love that Disney did is that they really took the care to tell the story the right way. I mean, this film took 2 hours to create. And now we're working on another one that also has taken 2 hours, two years to
Yeah.
create. And now we're working on a second that's also taking 2 years. And I love it that they're not just pumping them out, that everything is considered like a feature film. And it's a privilege to be able to tell stories where you can take your time telling them.
Well, congratulations, because it really is amazing.
Thank you.
When I was doing research for this interview and all of that, I saw that you are a dad to two sons. I myself have my 4-year-old son, and as somebody who was an only child, the only man I grew up around was my very lovely, kind, sensitive father. Uh,
Mm.
I am now the only woman in a house of men, and I don't know what to do with myself. So, do you have some tips for me on raising a young boy into a healthy young man? Anything you have to say to boy moms or boy dads out there?
If your kid is lucky enough to have you asking that question, I think you're well on your way. I think probably there will be times when his interests don't align with yours. Maybe he'll be
All
into
the
something
time.
sharks or Pokemon or whatever it might be, that you just have to kind of go with it, because if you listen to your kid and you don't dismiss their interests, that's how you forge that bond that will last well into their teenage years and hopefully beyond.
That sounds easy, but sometimes that's a little more difficult than I hope it'll be. But, I'm trying, so thank you. And then we ask all of our parents this very important question, which is, if you had the means to do so, what is the number one thing you think every parent should outsource?
Should outsource. That's a really great question. Boy, I don't know the answer to that, because we have outsourced some things that I wish that we didn't, like yard work, for example. And so I would say keep as much as you can in-house, but maybe cleaning the toilets. That nobody really wants to do that. So
You're the first person that we've asked that has said, maybe don't outsource everything. Everyone else is like, what
right,
do I pick from?
right.
Well, thank you so, so much for taking the time to chat with me. Congratulations on the film being amazing and wonderful and such a great thing for any kid of any age to watch. Can you plug the film and plug yourself for everybody, please?
Sure. This is once again Jeff Kinney, author of the Diary of a Wimpy Kid series. We have a new movie, Diary of a Wimpy Kid, uh, the first Disney movie, coming out on the 3rd of December. I'm very excited. I hope you like it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jeff. It was truly a pleasure.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Take care.